Oh, y'all just can't get enough. Keep messing around. I'm just going to start recording over and over again so you can stop playing with your little technology games. Alright? You want me to run through it again for you? Alright? See, you wouldn't let me file any paperwork. You wouldn't let me have a day in court. So here's your day in court. Alright? See that? See that case number? It's an order denying motion for civil contempt, right? These people were committing crimes. This matter comes before the court upon a motion for civil contempt, enforcement filed by Respondent Joseph Kirk. Upon a review of the motion the court filed, the court makes the following findings. On July 6, 2011, the court issued a final judgment of injunction prohibiting Respondent Joseph Kirk from committing violence against or having contact with the petitioner Scarlett Davidson, who was suing me, right, for my daughter, you know. Respondent now seeks contempt proceedings against petitioner because she allegedly mailed legal documents to him at the jail, purportedly violating the terms of the injunction. She didn't mail any legal documents to me because they were all illegal, okay? You know, so let me tell you about that. You know, Yvonne Howard was suing me through Scarlett Davidson for my daughter. But then they forced me to take an attorney named Sherry Wilson, okay? And I'm sorry, last time I checked, that's illegal because Yvonne Howard, which was my daughter's grandmother, okay, was the daughter of Roger Wilson. So Sherry Wilson was an extended family of Yvonne Howard, who, through a private case, which was totally illegal, came and kidnapped my kid. And then they tried to brush it under the rug with extended family members. So the injunction in this case directs solely at the conduct of Respondent Joseph Kirk trying to get some what? Justice. It places no restriction on the conduct of any other person. No person but the respondent can be held in contempt or charged criminally for violating its terms. Petitioner did not violate the injunction by mailing these documents by another extended family member. You know, John D. Moxley, circuit court judge, is the only signature you can read in this case. Because all the other judges wouldn't sign off on it. They got these big, crazy, you know, signatures because they don't want their name read in the court. What? The court. So, you know, therefore it's ordered and judged the motion of civil contempt is denied, right? Now, I tried to play more games recently, so, you know, here's this. Here's this police report. In case you guys didn't know, see? Charges? No charges. See that? No charges. They're all empty. Trying to prosecute a case without having a charge. You know, because when you had a charge, you wouldn't prosecute that case. So let's move on. Here's a copy of King's reporting, right? Oh, wait, here you go. You want to call and check King reporting and video conference center? You know, 321-242-8080. Go ahead. Check it out. So, let's see. The issue is violating of an injunction. You had me arrested for trying to, what? Defend myself in court. I served a legal subpoena for information that you guys didn't want to give because you were guilty of sin and committing crimes. The issue in this violating of an injunction, namely the order of Judge Moxley, see? Even the other judges, okay? We're trying to tell you. You guys need to quit your messing around. But you didn't want to listen. And he said I recused 4 judges. Yeah, because 4 judges knew better. So, you know, I didn't recuse them. They just said, we didn't want no part of your crimes. So, namely the order of Judge Moxley that was entered in the 18th Judicial Circuit. They're saying you've had direct or indirect contact with the petitioner in that injunction. And that's the issue, sir. So, if you want to talk about other issues, that's not before me here this morning. So, respectfully to you, sir, please limit your remarks to the court as to the issue at hand, because Jesus said the kingdom is at hand. And y'all didn't want to hear it, okay? The defendant, okay? The issue at hand. See those 2 little hyphens? That's because that's the issue at hand, and y'all didn't want to listen. The court, the public defender has been appointed, is counsel for the defense, allowing his client to continue to talk about this criminal case or kingdom being at hand. Okay. Public defender. Thank you, Judge. I just needed clarification. Thank you. Sometimes, Judge, they are best. What? They're best at getting the facts out. Court. Okay. Public defender. Petitioner in the underlying case is, see the two hyphens? You know who that is. The court is a member of the Florida Bar. Public defender, Your Honor, this. Y'all like to do math? Here you go, do some math. I came to Florida at 14 years old. Gentleman represents himself. You cannot bar him from contacting the lawyer who is a proper subject of the underlying litigation. You know, the underlying litigation, you know, the under reason, you know, the reason it's being hidden, because that litigation, right? So if he has documents to serve, you can't preclude him from serving those documents or having that contact. The court, what did the order from the Judge Moxley read as far as contact between the petitioner and Mr. Kirk? Well, that order said Mr. Kirk can't violate that with any violence. Well, I didn't. I served a subpoena for her to show up in court with the information that she said she had that she never had because she was lying, okay? She was like the Lion King, you know. She wanted to be a Lion King, you know. So, anyhow, this is, yes, Judge, it's fairly straightforward. And just to be clear for the court, Mr. Kirk actually does have representation in the case, and we're involved in. See how the wind likes to try to pick up when you start telling the truth? Okay. The court, he does. Uh-oh. Oh, y'all like that? Okay. And it's with Sherry Wilson. What? Sherry Wilson. Sherry Wilson is extended family of who? Roger Wilson. They got my daughter Sierra calling him Boopa, 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 because they didn't want her to know that his name was Roger Wilson. So that she would know that her grandmother is the one that did all this bad stuff to her. And it's okay. Miss Wilson is the attorney. What? Ms. Wilson is the attorney. You know? The Wilsons. So anyways, and then they even went as far as to change her name. You can hang it up. Don't even bother trying to call me. I ain't done yet. So Miss Wilson is the attorney, right? That they forced me to take to try and shut me up. And he has been limited from any contact involving that case between himself and Miss Davidson. And specifically Judge Moxley, ... See that? Hyphen. And I can provide a copy to the court. The only other provisions relating to actual final judgment of the injunction. Hold on. Let's see. You see that seal? What's that on? Told you I was going to make that $5 bill a 20. Here's page 20. Certificate of Transcriber, State of Florida. What? County of Brevard. I, Nicole L. Cash. Digital video. Describer, do hereby certify that I was I was authorized to and did transcribe the foregoing. Authorized to and did transcribe the foregoing proceeding. And that the transcript is true and correct record of the proceeding to the best of my ability. Done and dated this 26th day of June, 2012 at Melbourne, Brevard County, Florida. Now let's go to page 57. It says approximately, what? The question was, and you filed an injunction in July of 2011? What was the answer? Yes, sir. Right? Well, are you aware that I tried to file 3 injunctions to protect myself and my daughter before you filed your injunction? And then the answer was, against me? And the question I asked was, one of them against your client. One of them against you, and one of them was against, hyphen. I can't even remember who else. Because all y'all just came at my family like a bunch of morons. Okay? And it says, answer, I'm certainly not. What? Hyphen. Question, hyphen. See how they like that? But they were, what? Demons, right? Answer, what? I am aware of that. Question, all denied without hearing? Yeah, all denied without hearing. I am certainly not aware that you filed an injunction against me. See that answer? Okay, like I said, you were not, what? Aware. Are you aware that the petition that you filed is subject to Florida Judicial, what? Rule 2.515A that states that you're supposed to, read over your petitions and that there's two conflicting statements in it? Miss Treadwell, don't muzzle the ox while he treads out the grain. Your Honor, again, I would object. What? Well, they didn't want to put the objection in there because they knew better. That's why you got two little hyphens. So the object is this. In the matter of Sierra Kirk, a minor child, case number 05-2010 DR 26801, 05-2010 DP 88, order dismissing pro se pleadings, right? Well, at 39.8071C Florida statutes, the what? Court declined to allow Mr. Kirk to waive counsel. See that? The court declined to allow Mr. Kirk to waive counsel. That counsel of Sherry Wilson, okay? Sherry Wilson, that was extended family of Roger Wilson, the great-grandfather on the mother's side of the grandmother who kidnapped my daughter. Yeah, where a party is represented, pro se pleadings not adopted by counsel or a nullity. What? Alt versus State, 53 SO 3D 175 203 Florida, from 2010. What? Florida, from 2010, right? The year that you kidnapped my daughter, right? Yeah. Therefore, it is ordered and adjudged. The court takes no action with regard to pleadings filed in case number 05-2010 DR 26801. It is what? As it has no jurisdiction to do so, because that original case had no jurisdiction, and you built all those other cases off of a case that had no jurisdiction to begin with. Yeah. You notice you can't read that judge's signature? Not on this piece of paper. Who is that? That's right. So, what's it say? I hereby certify a true copy of the following was sent to the following, what? Case number 05-2010 DP 88. So we're talking about the case, right? 2010, right? That's the case that started, what? But all pleadings filed by Joseph Kirk in this case, okay, well, guardian ad lied to him? Lied to him? Did you lie to me? The guardian allowed to try to get me in front of that other judge and say I threatened all these people and all this stuff. Well, a wise judge, his name was Judge Crawford, said I could see this has been a big misunderstanding. Yep. You bet your butt it has. So then I filed what? You didn't want to listen to the law, so I filed God's law, right? Well, let those eyes see. What does it say? Number 1. Let those with eyes see and ears hear. You shall not bear false witness. Exodus 20:16. Hearsay, fraud, or perjury. But I say unto you, number 2, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne. Matthew 5:34. Number 3, let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil. Matthew 5:37. Affirm. 4. Whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31. 5. If your brother sins or signs against you, go and tell him his fault. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take 1 or 2 brothers along with you, that every charge may be established by evidence of the 2 or 3 witnesses, offer again. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. Let him be to you as a Gentile or tax collector. Matthew 18:15-7. 6. As for a person who stirs division, after warning him once and then twice, have nothing more to do with him. Nothing, what? Knowing that such a person is warped and sinful, he is self-condemned. Titus 3:10-11. This is evidenced in your secular law as a FS 57.105 letter. I put a Florida statute 57.105 letter in each one of those cases, and all of them were ignored. But you didn't want to pay your debt, and you didn't want to commit to do justice, and you didn't want to return my daughter, right? You destroyed my life and my business, right? Florida statute 57.105. I believe I put one in each one of those, and you guys didn't want to pay up. Didn't want to pay up, right? You're talking about all these other people paying debts and their taxes and everything else, but you didn't pay me, did you? You didn't pay me what you owe me, did you? All the time and hours I spent. But you charged thousands of dollars for your lawyers and attorneys to come in there and lie and cover up what? You didn't pay me, did you? Pay your debts. As for a person who stirs division after warning him once and then twice, have nothing more to do with him, knowing that such person is warped and sinful, he is self-condemned. Titus 3:10-11. This is evidence in your secular law as a 57.105 letter. You lawyers like to file those? Well, I filed one. So, that's a lot of years. A lot of years you owe me for. If you ever read Presidential Proclamation in 1983, you would know secular law is based off the Bible. I encourage you to open one up and read Exodus 21. It is the heart of bankruptcy, not bank robbery, okay, but bankruptcy and divorce law. I implore you of this maxim: the law of God and the law of the land are all one, and both favor and preserve the common good of the land. If ever the law of God and man are at variance, the former are to be obeyed in derogation of the latter. Revelation 16:11. And they blasphemed the God of heaven. What? They blasphemed the God of heaven because of their plans and their stories, and they did not repent of their deeds. All them deeds. Them dirty attorneys. You want to know why that judge ran out of the courtroom that day? Well, dirty attorneys, if you're paying attention, you already knew why. You just tried to pretend. So, discussion. I tried on more than one occasion to discuss the many transgressions of the matter, which is the soul, what? The soul of the void, ab initio instrument, put before this court by Scarlett Davidson, but have been denied any fair hearing or any hearing at all in any matter whatsoever due to her actions, which can be proven beyond all reasonable doubt by her own sworn testimony and accompanied, what? By undeniable evidence. I wish to discuss the matter in a private, what? In judge's chambers, off the record. Nobody offered. As a minister, it is my job to save souls and do the work of God, which can be proven with clear and convincing evidence beyond all reasonable doubt. Furthermore, I would say all the above can be proven beyond all doubt. God's love is unconditional. I pray the court understand the true intent of this request, and if your heart be so hardened, I pray that God gives you the spirit of truth and understanding for this humble request to offer God's saving grace. The truth of this was first evidenced to Miss Davidson in cross-examination. In an official hearing, which I have certified transcripts of, Jehovah is said to be the proper, what? Name of the God of Israel in the Hebrew Bible, and of the 7 names in God of the God in Judaism. It was familiarized in the English-speaking world by William Tyndale and other, what? Settler English, what? William Tyndale and other settler English Protestant renditions of Scripture, such as the Geneva Bible and the King James Version. It is still used in some translations, but not included in a lot of English translations, as the names Lord or Lord are used alternatively. Yahweh, whose name was revealed to Moses as 4 what? Hebrew consonants, no vowels, guys. YHWH, okay? So, Yahweh, 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 okay? Called the Tetragrammaton. So, after the Babylonian exile, what? The Babylonian exile, okay, 6th century BCE, and especially from the 3rd century BCE on, what? Jews ceased to use the name Yahweh for 2 reasons. As Judaism, what? Judaism, okay, became a universal rather than merely local religion. The more common noun, Elohim, okay, Elohim, okay, meaning God, tended to replace Yahweh to demonstrate the universal sovereignty of Israel's God over all others. At the same time, the divine name was increasingly, okay, the divine name was increasingly regarded as too sacred to be uttered. It was thus replaced vocally in the synagogue ritual by the Hebrew word Adoni. 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 My Lord. Ehoni. Oni. Which was translated as Kyrios. Curious. Kyrios. You curious? Lord. And the Septuagint, the Greek versions of the Hebrew Scriptures. The Masoretes, who from about the 6th and the 10th century worked to reproduce the original text of the Hebrew Bible, replaced the vowels of the name, what? No vowels, guys. With the vowel signs of the Hebrew words of Adonai, Elohim. Latin-speaking Christian scholars substituted the Y, which does not exist in Latin. Did you guys know that? With an I or a J, the latter of which exists in Latin as a variant form of I. Thus, the Tetragrammaton became the artificial, what? The artificial Latinized name Jehovah. 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 As the use of the name spread throughout medieval Europe, an initial letter J was pronounced, according to the local vernacular language rather than Latin. Although Christian scholars refer the Renaissance and Reformation periods used the term Jehovah for way, your way, in case you didn't understand. In the 19th and 20th centuries, biblical scholars again began to use the form Yahweh. Early Christian writers such as St. Clement of Alexandria in the 2nd century had used a form like Yahweh, and this pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton, okay, Tetragrammaton, okay, was never really lost. Many Greek transcriptions also indicated that Yahweh be pronounced Yahweh. No matter your language or religion, the words may differ, yet the law of God is absolute. For this reason, the Florida Constitution applies to all, no matter their language or religious disposition. Okay? Notice I didn't say deposition. I said their religious disposition. For this reason, it is written in pertinent part, we the people of the, what? State of Florida, being grateful to Almighty God. Now, these stipulations. Okay? Any certified, what? Stipulations for equitable meeting in chambers. Okay? They didn't want to meet. Okay? Any certified documents, digital records, or other evidence reviewed or discussed is not being entered to the record at this time, The meeting is considered to be what I think the secular would refer to as mediation and is for equity. I am bound to follow a higher law, God's law. This will be my second offer of unconditional love, as it is written, I have not come to do away with the law, but to fulfill it. So, in your minds, you might understand, too, due to the nature of the items to be discussed and the equitable relief sought, which creates no injury, as there ought to be an end to lawsuits, Scarlett Davidson may ask her partner in this matter to attend. I will not mention the name here, for it is ministerial business. 3. I seek to clear my good name as ordained. See that video down below? By the way, ordained again. Words of wisdom for intent. Any fool can start arguments. The honorable thing is to stay out of them. Clarity will come. 2. It is not good to eat much honey, nor is it glory to search out one's own glory. Clarity will come. See that? Isn't that what I said? You're liking that. Number 3, do all that you do for the glory of God. Speaks the nature of the soul. What? Speaks to nature and soul of this instrument. Is it just the paper? And the matter at hand. 4, it is the glory of God to conceal things, but the glory of kings is to search things out. Proverbs 25:2. For those receiving and believing these presents, they shall not see judgment. It is written, thou shalt not judge. Definitions. Should anyone doubt these words, I encourage the use of Google. What? Should anyone doubt these words, I encourage the use of Google. You can type define or meaning of root meaning of. What? Or meaning of or root meaning of. Followed by the word as follows. 1. Joseph. May God add or increase. 2. Preston, the priestly town of settlement. See? Press. Priest. Press priest. Presbyterian. Press priest. Okay? Came from priest and ton from town. Okay? Now. That's a ton. 3. Kirk. Quite literally means church. Presbyterian church. 4. Church. Many people today understand the church as a building. This is not a biblical understanding of the church. The word church is a translation of the Greek word ekklesia, which is defined an assembly or called out ones. The root, I'm calling you guys out, right? The root meaning of church is not that of a building, but of people. It is ironic that when you ask people what church they attend, they usually identify a building. Romans 16:5 says, greet the church that is in their house. Paul refers to the church in their house. Okay? Not a church or building, but a body of believers. This is why I say I am not in the church, but of the church, a public minister. Condemn, express complete disapproval of, typically in public, censure. Since y'all didn't listen, censure, you know, in a center of attention. You know, see that stamp? See the stamp, right? What does it say? What did it say? Oh, that's right. It was last year, right? 2019. It was the matter concerning Scarlett Davidson et al. And all her little party clans. Okay? It says Vade Retro Satana. Okay? That's a Latin word, you guys. Google it. Request for judicial notice and prayer for meeting in chambers for equitable relief. Since comes now Public Minister Joseph Preston Kirk. Now that you guys have the comprehension to understand. Okay? By and through a wise declaratory decree issued January 27th, 2011, you know, it was the day of my birthday, by Judge Maxwell III in open court in case number 05-2010 DP88, as stated verbatim. Okay, Mr. Kirk has earned the respect of this court, and you will address him. Amicus curiae. Okay, amicus curiae. You understand that word now? To preach fully a prayer for relief, to make known the truth of the matter and all its related matters with clear and convincing evidence, so clear that there is no issue of fact to be argued whatsoever. I have finished my inquiry. I pray this request fall before a just and righteous judge, knowing true equity and the nature of true justice, as true equity creates no injury, and there ought to be an end to lawsuits as required by the justice of the cause. Okay? The cause. hear me that time? The cause. Okay? As it is written, let those with eyes see and ears hear. Every word of God is good for reproof and teaching. Please judicially notice all of the following, lest your heart has been hardened, as I have suffered with the patience of Job. Now, Matthew 13, 9 through 16. Whoever has ears, let them hear. The disciples came to him and asked, why do you speak to the people in parables? He replied, because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has, what will be given? Well, they said I didn't file in a federal court. There's a case number right there. They tried to throw me in jail to keep me from filing paperwork. See, it says, that's what it says. You know, I had to write on the back of a request form and use that for a piece of paper to send it to the court, you know, because they wouldn't give me any paper. That wasn't Sheriff Wayne Ivy's fault, but that's why the other sheriff isn't the sheriff anymore. That's Sheriff Wayne Ivy's awesome. But anyway, so it says, plaintiff and detainee in Brevard County Jail proceeding, pro se, filed a civil rights complaint pursuant to 42 U.S.C. 1983 because plaintiff has failed to set forth his claims adequately. He will be required to submit an amended complaint. Amended complaint, right? Are all tennis, right? Y'all didn't want to listen, right? You want to do math? Go ahead, add that up. Plaintiff should not correspond with the court in letter form. Does that say? Number 4, right? Plaintiff should not correspond with the court in letter form. Plaintiff should, file pleadings or motion with a title. The title should be a brief summary of the contents of the pleading or motion. As a matter of course, the court will not respond to plaintiff's letters. Okay? All tennis. Okay? Plaintiffs should not attempt to correspond directly with a judge or a district judge or a magistrate judge. They will not, as a matter of policy, because they don't want to get on this train, right? You know, they don't want to, they're like, I didn't want to join those people because they did some really bad stuff. They're like, we want no part of it. Yeah, that's right. Plaintiffs should not attempt to correspond. They will, as a matter of policy, respond to personal correspondence when it pertains to a pending case. This policy is keeping with their sworn duty to maintain complete impartiality in the exercise of their judicial duties. Accordingly, their decisions and opinions are, quite properly, only delivered in response to those legal instruments filed with the clerk's office in accordance with the governing rules of the procedure. The court will strike and return its correspondence addresses directly to a district judge or magistrate judge. Okay, the court, as directed, is directed to mail plaintiff standard 42 U.S.C. 1983 form along with this order. Done and ordered at Orlando, Florida, the first day of August 2012. Let's see. What did it say on page 58 in the King's Reporting Center? In that case, right? Let me give you the date, 05/7/12. You want a date, place, and time? There you go. It said, what did I ask? The defendant, that was me. Says, actually, I'll take back that question by the defendant. Miss Davidson, do you have a very busy schedule? She said yes. And I said, okay. And do you sometimes get, overloaded with work? She said no. I said, okay, so would you say that it is impossible for you to make an error in judgment? Or would you say that maybe, it could happen? She said, not when it comes to you. Voila. Viola. I'm having some fun. violating an injunction, did not make any error in the judgment in that. So Ms. Davidson said, I'm not here against you. Are you aware of that? What? That's what I said. No, I'm not. And what'd she say? No. Okay, so when I asked you a question, if you would give me respect, what? As I'm giving you respect, could you just say to the question, what? What'd the court say? Mr. Kirk, ask your next question, please. What did I ask? Well, what was it Miss Davidson said? Oh, that's right. Asked and answered. You know, if you want to be a manzo, well, there you go.